Hello everyone, welcome back to Gen Recaps. I have been away for nearly 2 years, just like our beloved show Outlander, and partly because of the pandemic, partly because I was not finding much passion with doing recaps other than Outlander, so I might just be doing Outlander recaps for now, but I am genuinely so happy that our beloved Outlander has returned for its 6th season, and all is right in the world as the Droughtlander comes to an end. I am just beyond amazed because I just watched the season 6 premiere. I actually got the Stars app just so I could make a video as soon as possible for you guys, and honestly, I am blown away. Now, it wasn't the most eventful premiere that we've seen with Outlander, but at the same time, we met a lot of characters. We are getting an idea of the tensions between the Frasers and the Browns after all this time, and I have to say, this season has a lot in store for us, and I am nervous for Fergus and Marsalee. I mean, I know this happens in the book. They are going to have some issues. I just don't know how the show is going to portray those issues. So we will find out. But yes, let us delve into the season 6 premiere, which is titled Echoes. I should also warn people that this is a very spoilery review / recap, so spoiler alert. So, episode 1 begins with actually a flashback to the Ardsmuir prison days, where we actually finally get to see Tom Christie, who we did not see during season 3 during the Ardsmuir segment. And Tom and Jamie, are not seeing eye to eye. Tom is very religious, and he kind of lets his faith guide him. He uses it as his shield and as his weapon. So basically, Tom has made an agreement with the governor who is running the prison there at the time, who we do not really get to meet. We don't really get to see him much in the 3rd season because he leaves right before Lord John comes along. And what happens is Jamie wants to make changes because riots keep breaking out between the men. And once Jamie takes lead, that is when the men start to work together. Of course, everybody except Tom Christie. He does not agree with Jamie. He does not think highly of him at all, unlike everyone else. And that is basically what we get to see in the opening. Oh, also we get to see Claire as a Spectre again, which she appeared the same way as she did during Culloden in the season 3 opening. And I thought that was an interesting touch that they did that. I didn't think we would actually get to see Claire's ghost again, but lo and behold, there she was. So that segment actually took about 22 minutes, which was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but at the same time I understand they wanted to establish the relationship between Jamie and Tom Christie, because we need to understand why there's tension between them. But anywho, after those 22 minutes, we flash forward to 1773. I'm honestly happy to know what year it is now. I always forget when they flash forward and what year it is, but now I know. So we basically catch up with Fraser's Ridge and what's going on. It's been about a few months since Claire's abduction and rescue, and she is doing fairly well. She's actually discovering how to make an anesthetic called ether, which I actually made a note in here that said foreshadowing ? And I wasn't wrong. and I will get to that in a little bit. But yes, she also goes to visit Marsley, who is in her, I believe, like last few months of being pregnant, and she unfortunately has bruises on her wrists, and Claire wonders what's going on. But however, she just says that she's being clumsy. Unfortunately, based off of a clip that we saw, there most likely is, like, Fergus is possibly hurting her, like, unintentionally, but he's actually been dealing with a lot. We don't get to delve too much into that in this episode, but we do see him in his drunken state a lot, and he's clearly going to the still most of the day, and he's just not in a good place. And we will learn more about that because it is in the books, and this is also the season I believe they will delve into their fourth child, Henry Christian, and if you guys have read the book, that is a sad story, which I haven't read the book, I just spoiled it for myself, but yeah, it's gonna be a rough season for them, so I'm not looking forward to that part, but at the same time, I'm happy that they are showing more Fergus and Marsley and giving them more story, which we haven't seen too much of in the past few seasons. So yeah, I'm excited to at least get to see more of them. Oh, and I don't think I introduced you guys. This is Autumn, my little chihuahua. She's just standing by while I film my video. Alright, so back to the episode, sorry. Let me see, I have notes here. Oh yes, Christie. So he actually makes his way to Fraser's Ridge, and Roger and Bree meet with him, and they learn that he is an Ardsmuir men. Jamie had put an advertisement out for the Ardsmuir men that they could come settle at Fraser's Ridge, which he found that advertisement. He has 2 children, Malva and Alan, and also a few others in his party, and they all want to settle there because they have nowhere else to go. So Jamie reluctantly says, sure, why not? But clearly this is not going to be an easy situation for him. So at one point, Tom is having like a little congregation, giving a sermon with his people that they want to build basically a schoolhouse and a church. And Jamie realizes that these people really have no experience in doing that, so he agrees to help them out with that because it is a sort of thank you from the group. It's not meant to be a takeover, so it seems. But yeah, there's still tension basically throughout this whole episode with Tom and Jamie, so it's not going to be an easy season with that. Major MacDonald is now in charge, and he is visiting Jamie and telling him that they need an Indian agent, as they call it. Basically somebody to improve the relations between the British and the Native American tribes, because the war is about to begin. Good old American Revolutionary War. I mean, it's good that it happened, just in this sense, for our characters, it's going to be tricky because Jamie basically is going to eventually move over to the American side, but because he got the land from the British, that's the problem. So it's a matter of the season about them preserving their home, everything that they built. And I believe this season we will actually see the fire that was mentioned in the article that Brianna found in the 70s. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out too. So yeah, Major MacDonald wants Jamie to be the agent for the Indians. However, Jamie doesn't want to do it. He refuses. Unfortunately, good old Browns come back into play. I will be honest here, I do not care for the Browns. I'm sure a lot of you don't, after what happened last season, or in the book if you read that. But yeah, this group of people, they call themselves the Committee of Safety, literally after they try to shoot Ian because he looks like a Native American, which, jeez. And then he has the nerve to show up to Fraser's Ridge, mostly because an item was stolen from him by Alan. Which, already not building a good foundation there, are we, Tom Christie? So, Richard Brown wants to arrest Alan. However, Tom Christie says that he will be punished, just don't arrest him. But then Jamie speaks up, and unfortunately this is where Brown gets a little revenge for the death of his brother, and he tells Jamie to punish Alan. And the scene was very tense because you could tell Richard was holding back from doing any harm to Jamie, even though his brother was the one in the wrong. But you know, pride, especially in the good old 1700s. Oh, but yes, so clearly the Committee of Safety is ironically going to be a threat throughout the season, and I believe they are the ones who end up causing the fire, if I'm not wrong. I mean, they could change things in the show, I'm not positive, but we will find out how this goes. And then to catch up with Brianna and Roger, we actually didn't see Jemmy. I don't think we did anyway. We saw Fergus and Marsley's kids, but I don't think we saw Jemmy. Where was he? Did I miss something? We'll just say he was with Lizzie because that's probably what the case was. But yeah, I don't know if Roger and Brianna are going to have Mandy this season. They're supposed to have a second child named Amanda, nicknamed Mandy. And I believe she does make her first appearance in A Breath of Snow and Ashes, but I'm not... Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty positive. Yeah, we'll have to see. I know there was a picture of Roger holding a baby. Like, this image came out a while ago, and I feel like that was Henry Christian and not Mandy, because it looks like maybe he's trying to baptize him, and I think they didn't want him to be baptized. I think that was the plot. Yeah, I'm talking about future stuff, sorry. But yeah, we don't see too much with them. They're just helping Jamie out with the Christies, and there is a boy in the party who is struggling with the death of his father, and Roger looks like he's going to befriend him. I think he's the boy in the clip where they show him, like, the little match that Brianna makes. So there might be friendship there, or possibly he tells Tom about that stuff and it doesn't sit well with Tom. That's possible too. It could go either way. But yeah, they're just living their lives, and Brianna wants to do her engineering. She's just a little afraid to after what happened to Claire, but Claire assures her, like, she should just do what she wants to do. She shouldn't be afraid of being herself, because they are helping people regardless of what happens to them. So I thought that was an interesting outlook that Claire had on that. Not what you would expect, but I think there are different ways of dealing with trauma, and that is her way of dealing with it, which it's fine either way. And speaking of Claire's trauma, we do see a bit of that in the episode too. So she is still struggling with obviously what happened to her in the season 5 finale, and she's kind of handling it better than I thought she would, except there are times when she does get irritated if somebody brings it up, like Brianna brought it up at one point, and she clearly didn't want to talk about it, and that is honestly a normal reaction to that. But it is starting to eat at her, especially when Richard Brown makes an appearance. That really sets her off a little bit, and she has nightmares that night. And here is where the foreshadowing comes in. She has nightmares, and because she can't sleep properly, she decides to use the anesthetic on herself at the end, which it could become a dangerous habit if she does it too much. I don't know if that's what they're implying. It could be that. But I honestly, I loved her monologue at the end. Basically talking about ghosts and how they haunt us, and she, of course, brings in the title of the episode, Echoes. And it's kind of like, we have these ghosts, and they're not always there, but sometimes they sit waiting in the future, and there's just these echoes from the past that are there, and they don't always leave us, and it's just something that we have to cope with. Sometimes we ignore it, but we can't always ignore it. But I liked her last line here that she said, which was, "We make our ghosts, we haunt ourselves." And I thought that was a really interesting line, because there's a lot of play on ghosts in this show. If you guys have seen from the very beginning, we see Jamie's ghost, who appears in the 1940s before Claire even knows Jamie. We of course see Claire as the specter through Jamie's eyes, and there's just so many references to ghosts because, oh yeah, like Ottertooth, of course. He was another ghost who made an appearance. And it's kind of like this idea that ghosts, they're timeless. They can be anywhere. They can be in the past, the present, the future. And I really like that theme that they have going on throughout the show and in the books even, because it just is something that kind of touches all of us. Even if we don't believe in ghosts, there are things that haunt us. And it could be anything. But yeah, I just thought that was a really nice way to end the episode. It was a good hour and 30 minutes, and like I said, it wasn't the most eventful episode, but we learned a lot of new characters. We are figuring out like the relationships between like Tom and Jamie and Major McDonald. So far, Major McDonald seems decent. That could change. I'm not sure what his character is like in the books. I don't know if he'll be like the other one, Tryon. We'll see. Yeah, also interesting to see Fergus, Marsley, and Claire like coping with their traumas. It was interesting because Marsley was very traumatized after killing Lionel, who she actually poisoned in the finale because he had harmed Claire and herself. But I think she's busy dealing with Fergus that she doesn't really have time to think about her own trauma, maybe. That might be keeping her busy, and maybe we will see it bother her throughout the season, because she was very, like, struggling with the fact that she had killed a man in the finale. And maybe she has made peace with that. That's possible. But yeah, it might come up. We'll have to see. But yeah, basically, to sum it up, the Christies have arrived. The Browns are back. we don't like him still. And oh, Jamie did decide after Richard Brown's appearance that he would become the agent for the Native American people, because Richard Brown was offered the position, and he's like, if it's between him and me, I'm gonna do it. Because he wants to blame the Native Americans for causing fires throughout the land, even though it is most likely the Committee of Safety. But yeah. We will see how that plays out. I know there's going to be tensions between the Native American people and Jamie, because it looks like young Ian has an issue with how Jamie's handling things in the trailer. So yeah, we have a season full of all kinds of things going on, and I'm very excited to see where everything goes. I'm also scared, keep that in mind, because it's gonna be a very tough season to get through, especially from what I've heard the cast say, and I know things happen in the book, and they're probably going to transfer a lot of the drama into the show. Oh, so yeah. I am ready / not ready for this season. But I am overall very excited, and I am happy to have Outlander back. The show has been basically my rock since 2014, and it continues to be. It was really hard to get through it without. It's hard to get through the pandemic without Outlander for 2 years, because season 5 basically ended right as the pandemic had just begun, and here we are. We're still reeling from it and dealing with a lot of trauma ourselves, and I'm sure a lot of you have been affected by that too. I hope you're all doing well after everything that's happened, and yeah, now that we have Outlander back, I hope it is a comfort and a joy to everyone. It is definitely to me, and I am excited, very excited to have it back. And like I said, I am probably just going to be doing Outlander recaps for now. We'll see how the next 8 weeks go. I have been watching other shows and movies. I honestly just don't get as much response out of those videos. So we'll see how this goes, and maybe I'll make more if passion comes to me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these recaps. I have made some changes. I finally got a ring light, so the lighting should be a little better. I finally got a stand, so no more wobbly camera. I'm so happy about that. Oh, but yes, improvements. And yes, you will probably see my dog Autumn time to time, because she likes to be featured. Say hi, Autumn. Say hi. Say hello. She is a very big chihuahua. Oh, yeah, she's a cutie. Hi. Alright. But yes, thank you for joining me for season 6 of Outlander, and I will see you guys very soon. I might even share some of my art throughout my videos. I did that in my last video, and yeah, it's gonna be an adventure. It's gonna be an experience, and I am here for it, and I am glad to be reunited with you guys, my clan fans. Alright, I'll see you next week for episode 2. Bye!